My name is Max Child. I'm co-founder of Volley, and we make games for Alexa and Google Home devices.
Perfect. So what has you really excited about the conversational space?
I think there's this sort of amazing device penetration, particularly when you look at voice devices. There's like 50 million of them in homes around the world now. And I think as someone who tries to make games and entertainment, I think that there's this sort of massive, mostly untapped opportunity to bring people together and hopefully bring them some joy in their homes in a pretty new way. So I'm very excited about voice-controlled entertainment.
And in the next 5 years, what's the biggest problem with the space?
In the next 5 years?
Sure.
Maybe
1 year.
That's a pretty long time span. I could do like 1 year.
Sure.
I think much like the early days of mobile and the web, I think anytime you kind of have a new platform, the essential characteristics of any sort of successful product or business kind of have to be rediscovered, which is like getting new users, new players for us, retaining them, engaging them, making sure they're having a good time using the product or getting good utility out of the product, and then finally, making money off of that positive experience on the back end. I think all three of those things are sort of in various stages of being figured out at this point. To me, it reminds me a lot of like the iOS App Store in like late 2008, early 2009, pre-Uber, pre-Angry Birds, pre a lot of things that today we consider sort of essential characteristics of our lives.
Yeah, the quintessential fart app has not quite reached.
I think we're still probably in the fart app stage.
I think so.
But we're just not in the like Clash of Clans or Angry Birds stage yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But I still haven't gotten the fart your friends or something like that.
I'm sure you could find one if you wanted to. Although I feel like Alexa maybe hasn't approved that yet.
Right, it hasn't.
Yeah.
'Cause I made it.
You could make
Didn't
your
work.
own. Oh yeah, it didn't work? All right, sorry.
That's all right.
You could probably disguise it as some other kind of sound app.
That was the second phase of that, right?
Which one?
On the App Store.
Yeah.
People then disguising the Wi-Fi tether.
Yeah, I think they're still disguising things that
I think so.
Yeah, it still works.
I'm sure. So what? Oh, sorry. Can you describe that aha moment that you had that made you think that voice was really, or conversation was really the way of the future?
I got an Alexa about 2 years ago for my birthday for my parents, which, thank you, Mom. I think just the fact that you could like yell at it from like 20 feet away and it basically understood you was fairly mind-boggling, right? Having used Siri, kind of, the fact that you just shout at this little cylinder on the floor and ask it a random question or tell it to play music or the weather or Jeopardy or something like that, it was like, man, this is quite different. Like we've turned the corner from like 90% recognition to 95% recognition, and the latency is down to like a couple tenths of a second, and all of a sudden it becomes like a pretty joyful experience to use a voice device rather than an incredibly frustrating experience. And those percentages aren't that different, but I really feel like Alexa was the first one to kind of turn that corner.
Perfect. I had a similar experience.
Yeah.
It was mind-blowing.
Right.
When it happened for the first time.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, it like works.
What else works?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So this one is a bit off the wall, but if you had one question that you could have your users answer definitively, no BS, what would you ask them?
Oh, man. See, I get a lot of emails from our users, so I get to ask them all the questions I want to ask. Is this some sort of like truth serum thing?
No.
Or like?
This is just my own question.
I think like, God, I'm sorry, I'm struggling to answer this question definitively. I think probably we would just, ask people, more about their habits, who they play with, what sort of pleasure they get out of like our games, what situations they use them in, and again, these are all things I do already ask our users, so I wouldn't say that it's like some hidden knowledge, but I'm always just trying to understand about like how our entertainment and games fit into people's lives, hopefully in a positive way, and hopefully build more entertainment that makes them even happier. Yeah.
Yeah, similar answers for that one was like privacy.
Oh,
People
privacy.
guys want to know about privacy.
Yeah.
Entertainment guys want to know about entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
I
thing.
do email our users all these questions, so it's not really like, yeah.
It's not science.
They email me, and so I just ask them questions in my replies.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all I have for you.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.